All right, let's take a peek around the league. The Bulls and Pacers. Chicago going for 9 in a row in this one. It's been all Bulls in the first half, up 14. Nuggets in Orlando. The Magic by 5 at the break. Just underway. Bobcats in Oklahoma City. Charlotte's up next for the Spurs in San Antonio. And Charlotte trailing OKC by a point in a few minutes. Celtics are in Houston with the Rockets. Also, NBA news and notes. The Mavs will have Brendan Haywood back tonight for the Spurs. Haywood has missed the last 2 with back issues. And the Warriors are in San Antonio next week, but Golden State will be without center Andris Biedrins. He'll miss the 4-game road trip with an ankle issue. Welcome back to Spurs Live. Greg Kerr here in the Fox Sports studios. Dallas will no doubt game plan on how to slow down Tony Parker, but would you believe earlier today, Tony was fraternizing with the enemy. Rick Renner and Tony got together during this morning's shoot-around at the AAC. And Rick, my question is, why would Tony hang around with the bad guys? All right, a look at the numbers for Parker's field goal percentage. A bit puzzling, really, but the key to all of this, Parker is one of the Spurs who can be counted on to kickstart the offense early in games, and that's huge on the road like tonight in Dallas. Could be a lot of reasons why, but if a big shot is needed late in the game, you know Parker's still a go-to shooter. Time to head back to the American Airlines Center and with our Whataburger at the scene and rejoin Rick and Andrew. Used to be the Mavs scored the points and the Spurs played the D. Rick, we've learned nothing remains the same in this league, does it?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Spurs Live. I'm Greg Kerr. Spurs and Mavs in Dallas. Maybe, possibly, could be a preview of a Western Conference playoff series. Well, San Antonio didn't mess around early, jumping out to an 18-point lead, but Dallas didn't quit. The 148th meeting all-time in this Lone Star shootout, and this one turned out to be a shootout. Not high-scoring, but a tough one indeed. Look at Tony Parker, first quarter. Spurs up 8, make it 10 with that flipper there for 2, 19-9. Then the Whataburger, what a play. George Hill through the legs of Dirk to DeJuan Blair for the lay-in. That is worth a second helping. How about that pass there? Nice job by Hill and Blair connecting to make Dallas look bad later in the second. Antonio McDyess with a save to Manu Ginobili, who goes off the window for 2. San Antonio up 40-22, but the Mavs not done. Dallas working it on the breakout after the block of Blair. Here comes Jason Terry to Jason Kidd, back to Terry to Kidd for the lay-in. Dallas pulled to within 5 at the half. Now we go to the third. Spurs up 1. Parker, Tony going to work here. And he was sensational in the second half of this game. And how about that shot there off the glass for 2 and the foul? Spurs led it by 4. On the other end, Dirk keeping the Mavs in the game with a jumper. He had 23, game tied at 60. But the Spurs responded with an 11-2 run into the fourth. Parker again with the scoop, getting to the basket all night long. 78-73 Spurs with that 2 by Parker. Then the backbreaker, Parker for 3 off the glass. Did he call it? Who cares? Parker had 33 and the Spurs jumped out 84-77. A little bit later on, the exclamation point. McDyess the steal. He'll give it up to Ginobili for the slam dunk. He had 25 in the game. And here's your final score from Dallas. It was the Spurs winning it over the Mavericks by a final of 97-91. The Spurs' big 3 put up big numbers. Parker 33, Ginobili 25, and Duncan 22. The Spurs improved their record now to 55-13. Let's hear now from Manu Ginobili in the victorious Spurs locker room. 2 of the teams vying for the title in the tightly packed Pacific square off tonight at the American Airlines Center, where the Stars can pull within 2 points of the Sharks with a 5th victory in 6 meetings against their divisional rivals. The Stars have had the Sharks' number so far, taking 7 of the 8 points, including a win out west 10 days ago. It's the Stars and Sharks. It all starts right now on Stars Live, presented by Ford. This 7-game homestand continues for the Stars tonight, with Pacific leading San Jose in town for a critical divisional game. The season is winding down, so Dallas needs to continue to make its move in the Pacific. The Stars have enjoyed a nice big helping of shark fin soup so far, going 3-0-1 against San Jose. So with Dallas down 4 points in the Pacific to the Sharks, it's imperative Dallas skates out of this one with at least 1 point, preferably 2. Welcome to Stars Insider, presented by Ford. Greg Kerr along with Craig Gluckwood. We are with you live here at the American Airlines Center in downtown Dallas. It is the Stars and San Jose Sharks tonight. San Jose coming off a 6-3 loss to Chicago on Monday night. And Craig, we've spent a lot of time ad nauseum looking at the Western Conference standings the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, month, whatever it is. Let's focus tonight on the Pacific Division, because there's still a crown to be had out of the Pacific.
Oh, same but different, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. A lot of numbers.
Well, as you can see, it's obviously another big game for the Dallas Stars, and I'm not sure if this has ever happened before, but we were just talking about it. There could be a possibility here of a whole division making the playoffs and being in that Western Conference group, and it is tight. And again, we're going to look at some games tonight. Nashville's playing the Kings, and Calgary is playing Phoenix, and so it's a huge game for the Dallas Stars again. It is for San Jose also. They haven't been playing the way that they've wanted to play lately. I think they've only lost something like 4 out of 25 in regulation, so they have been on a roll, but kind of fell apart a little bit. And they got it handed to them last night against Chicago, in Chicago. Good news for Dallas. They catch them on a back-to-back, and goaltender Niemi, that played for Chicago last year, won the Stanley Cup for him, got chased out of the net. But he'll be back in there tonight.
And something to think about here, no division has ever had all teams make the playoffs. Could happen for the first time this year. We'll wait and see how that unfolds.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah, the Western Conference will be a fight to the finish, no doubt about that. 5 points separate 4th from 10th. Chicago is 4th, and back to Anaheim, the Ducks are 10th. Dallas is in the middle of the pack in 7th, but only 2 points behind the Blackhawks. It's a jumbled up mess right now, and something the Stars are dealing with because they simply have to. All right, let's bring in Darrell Ray now. And Darrell, I guess if you look at this to the end of the season, and just about every season, if teams are playing well and making the playoffs and doing well in the playoffs, they seem to always have a bunch of players step up, and Stefan Robidas has been one of those guys stepping up of late for Dallas.
I don't know that Steph ever stepped.
All right, Razor, thanks a lot.
There it is, Razor's
Look
gift.
at that. There's your gift. How nice. That is
appropriate.
Couture, by the way. I guess we forget that. Let's talk about your birthday, which, by the way, there was some kind of bash being held last night in the area for your, are we counting numbers here, really? For your birthday.
Yeah,
all right.
A good friend of mine out at the Big Apple Cafe, Joe, had a little get-together, and I want to thank those two guys right there, Eddie Belfour and Brett Hull, for showing up.
It's probably the hardest trophy in pro sports to win, and the only trophy in pro sports where you get to bring it home and enjoy it with your family and friends too.
Well, maybe we'll see you now 12 years after the first one that came through Dallas. We'll see you back in a couple of months if the Stars can pull off a Stanley Cup win.
Right.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike Bolt, the protector of the Stanley Cup. Thank you very much. All right, still to come here on Stars Live, presented by Ford. The Stars take on the San Jose Sharks tonight. When we come back, Brent Severn and Dallas Morning News' Mike Heika gets up to speed on the Sharks defenseman Dan Boyle. But first, our Ford trivia question. Craig Ludwig amassed 38 regular season goals and 4 playoff goals over his 17-season career. Which goalie did Craig beat for his final goal of his career? Robbie Tallis out of Boston, Gar Snow from Vancouver, Dominic Hasek from Buffalo, or Chris Osgood from the Red Wings? I think Craig might remember who it was. We'll see when we come back with more of Stars Live right after this quick break.
Didn't happen that often.
Head out to work on the ice. Well, you would think the work might be done when that final buzzer sounds, but that's not true. There's still more work to be done for the Stars after the game.
Holy cow!
Win, lose, or draw,
Stars are in trouble. Attacked in front. They score!
it's all about routine for the Stars. When fans are headed home and after the team deals with media responsibilities, their game day or night isn't over. You know, flushing can mean several different things, but for Stars players, flushing means flushing their systems of poison following 60 minutes of hockey out on the ice.
That's what we call a flush. So we just kind of try to help dissipate that lactic acid that they do. So we kind of do like a bit of a ride and a bit of a walk and some a little bit of stretching and stuff like that. And depending on how many minutes the guys play, we go from anywhere from 6 to 12 minutes or maybe a little longer.
J.J. McQueen is the team's longtime strength and conditioning coach. He oversees the post-game flush. Workouts include the stationary bike, the bungee, medicine ball lunges, and plyometrics.
It's kind of just a lactic flush to get lots of the lots of the cramping out, or what guys play a lot of minutes, and it kind of helps them get a little bit of flush out of their legs, so they feel a lot better for the next day.
All that considered, the flush is a big hit for some Stars, not so much for others.
I don't know, a lot of times I like to do nothing, but sometimes, a bike here and there, or a cold tub's always good to refresh your legs, especially on the back-to-back games. It's good to do, but usually I just like to sit down and chill and think about what I just did.
But for the most part, the Stars do, and occasionally even lift weights after a game. An exercise largely frowned upon, but a necessary evil.
Game days are very, very stressful, and obviously you never want to do a weight workout before a game or even a day before a game, but certainly right after the activity, you've still got enough energy in there, and if you can push yourself, you'll maintain your strength throughout the season a little bit better.
All this extra work hopefully will pay off for the team come April when the playoffs roll around. Right now, even with the long season and games almost every other night, they have to gut it out, then flush it out.
Especially after a loss, you never really feel like doing it, but in the end we know it's the right thing to do, and it's going to make us better in the future, and you feel a lot better when you wake up the next morning because of it.